Just want to welcome everyone. We're just going to get started here in just a minute. Our host to get things kicked off is our Vice President of Program, Jason Millman. Jason, feel free to get things rolling. I want to thank our panelists. I want to thank our all of our attendees. We still have many rolling in, it looks like, and to be sensitive to everyone's time. At this point, I'll go ahead and turn things over. I'm Doug Stone, the Scout Executive. Just want to thank everyone again, and I'll turn it over to Jason Millman for our opening remarks.
Well, thank you, Doug. Hello. I hope this webinar finds you and your loved ones healthy and safe. My name is Jason Millman. I'm the Vice President of Program for Indian Waters Council. And when we first started to see the impacts of COVID-19 across our area, no one expected that we would find ourselves where we are now. We went from being busy preparing for Pinewood Derbies and springtime camping experiences to find our units and our council activities on hold. And when we realized that this impact was going to last through the spring, our volunteers went to work providing our scouts with virtual merit badges and Cub Scout activities that they could work on together as a family. When the threat of this virus looked as if it could close down our beloved Camp Barstow summer camp and all of the outstanding activities and the experiences that so many scouts and scouters were looking forward to this summer, we knew that we needed to prepare. So tonight we will present you with our summer online program. We will have a PDF version of this slideshow equipped with links that will take you directly to the sites so that you can gather all the information and register for these events. We will also include a recording of tonight's webinar on our new iHub site for you to share with anyone that happened to miss it. This webinar is meant for everyone, so scouts and scouters and parents alike should see the information that we've put together for them. We've been working around the clock to bring programming for every scout in our council, whether they're just beginning their journey as a Cub Scout or they're looking to begin work on their Eagle Scout project. Now, I mentioned a new site that has been created to help the Indian Waters Council scouting community engage in BSA programs. And we put these resources together for you so you've got them right there at your home. Be sure to visit and share our iHub site. The iHub allows scouts, scouters, and our scouting families to choose what information they want to receive from the council. We know that parents are busy, and this site allows you to receive information that is particular to your scout and their program. The page is being updated by our volunteers and our staff all the time. And you will hear our volunteers refer to the iHub throughout tonight's webinar. So it's important that you not only visit the site, but that you register and that you sign up as well. As we all look forward to brighter days ahead, so does our Indian Waters Council family, and we're anxious to once again offer all of the great outdoor activities that our scouts are looking forward to. Things are certainly not what we're used to in scouting, but it has been inspiring to see everyone adapt and thrive to ensure that scouting continues. I mentioned tonight that you will hear from a number of volunteers outlining our summer online programming, but we do have two special guests with us tonight. Our first guest is James Burns. James is a member of our council board and is a great supporter of scouting. James Burns is also the person that Governor McMaster appointed to lead Accelerate SC, a task force committee to determine the best ways to restart and revitalize South Carolina's economy as we move forward from the coronavirus pandemic. James, thank you so much for being with us tonight. James, the floor is yours.
Jason, thank you. And I want to also thank Doug Stone for his steady leadership during some of these uncertain times. I know that oftentimes there's been a lot of concern for people, for families about what's going to happen, but I think under Doug's steady leadership of the council, we've been well served. And for many others like Mikey Johnson and others who have just been real stalwarts for supporting the scouting community. You know, in my day job, I'm actually an attorney and I'm a partner at Nelson Mullins. And so when I left as Governor Haley's chief of staff back in 2015, I didn't think I would get recalled back to public service. But about a month and a half ago, the governor called and he and I know each other and we had worked on some projects together. And he asked if I would serve as his chair of Accelerate SC. It's been about a 5-week program with 30 other great leaders from our state, from many different sectors, business community, healthcare. So one of the things that we were tasked with doing by the governor was providing him some recommendations and moving forward with opening our economy safely and making sure that our citizens could feel confident in opening the economy and moving forward. Today was the day we actually delivered our final report to the governor with a number of recommendations. But I want to tell you in particular about a couple of things because it's specific to the things that are important to you and important to scouting. And the first thing was, I will tell you, is we were looking at a couple of weeks ago about how we could safely open day camps. I know we hadn't gotten to overnight camps, but when we were opening day camps, one of the first things the governor said is, he was asking about scouting, and he said, look, this is a wonderful program for our children and for our young people. And that was one of the significant parts of he wanted us to figure out a way that we could safely look at opening day camps. And so I will tell you that as we did that and as we made those recommendations, Scouts and from Cub Scouts all the way up to Boy Scouts were something we kept in mind as we made those decisions. The other thing, and this is really a challenge to the leaders and challenge more to the Scouts than I'll tell you than the adults, is that right now is a great opportunity for Scouts to be leaders. And that's what you're trained to be, is to be leaders. There's a lot of people talk about that there's a crisis of confidence because this disease is still out there and it's still very real. But now is a wonderful opportunity for our Scouts to be leaders, to show people what it means to, what social distancing means and how we should, appropriately approach things in a safe manner. I mean, these are all things that you're taught very young as Scouts, and then as you make your way into the Boy Scouts and to become an Eagle Scout. And I think this is a wonderful, while we look at some of the bad things that have happened and we don't, look at stuff, we miss that we can't have the overnight camps. And I know there's some disappointment about Camp Barstow. I think there are other opportunities, as I said, for our Scouts to be leaders. And so I think my challenge to you for this summer would be, and I think from the governor's perspective, is we need you to be leaders. We need people to know that they can safely approach activities, that they can move forward with their daily lives in a safe way, in a smart way, in a productive way. And so I would challenge all of you to do that. And again, thank you very much, Doug Stone and Jason Millman, for the opportunity to talk to the Scouts and their families. Again, Scouting is such a huge part of who we are as South Carolinians, also as Americans, but certainly from a South Carolina perspective, and all the leaders in Scouting. I thank you for your commitment to making sure our children can grow up and to be the next generation of leaders. I mean, the next Accelerate SC member is probably among us now. So thank you very much to y'all, and have a great evening.
Well, thank you again, James, for your leadership, not just to our state, but to Scouting here in Indian Waters Council. We appreciate you being with us here tonight.
Thank you, James.
So our next special guest tonight is Al Lambert. Now, as the Assistant Chief Scout Executive and the National Director of Outdoor Adventures, Al Lambert works with volunteer committees and staff members to deliver a range of exhilarating once-in-a-lifetime outdoor adventures to the BSA's youth members and all of the adult volunteers. This includes responsibility for our 4 high adventure sea bases. That's the Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico, the Florida National High Adventure Sea Base in Florida Keys, the Northern Tier High Adventure Base in Minnesota, and the Summit Bechtel Family National Scout Reserve in West Virginia. So he's certainly a guy that knows a thing or two about scouting, and he's here with us tonight. Al, thanks so much for being with us this evening, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate being with all of you tonight. And I want to congratulate and send a word of appreciation to James Burns and Governor McMaster for their support of the scouting program in South Carolina right up. They're exactly right. This is the time for scouts to shine and be leaders. And from what I've learned, the Indian Waters Council is going to be at the forefront of leadership in figuring out how to keep the outing in scouting, how to keep the outdoor adventures and the fun and adventure of scouting right in the forefront of what you're going to do this summer, even in the face of no overnight camping and some of the restrictions that you have in South Carolina. Also want to thank everybody that's on the Zoom tonight. You know, if you're anything like about 4 months ago, I didn't know what Zoom was. I've spent most of my life in the last 3 months now communicating with people and connecting with my staff, scouts, and leaders across America on these Zoom. Okay, I'm back. Somebody, Doug, can you hear me? I think I was just interrupted there.
Yes, we can hear you, Al. There was an interruption due to the internet. It seems like on your side there, but
Okay, good.
welcome back.
I'll
I can
keep
see.
going.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll keep going. You know, these kinds of things we didn't have to deal before. So I was saying I want to thank all of you for joining and for being on the call, and thanks for innovating. Your virtual meetings, the Stone Soup program that Doug's doing to communicate with all of you, your virtual camps, your attitude of service are all amazing and wonderful things. Little bit of a current status. You are one of 260 camps that have not been able to operate. And that's out of 467 scout camps in America, 130 councils. The high adventure bases are all slated to open on a different schedule. And I know the Indian Waters Council has a number of scouts that are going to participate in high adventure this summer. And there's a variety of schedules for that. I urge you to look at each of the high adventure base websites to get the most accurate information. It's changing every day. But I also urge you to stay tuned to tonight's agenda and really connect with the outing and scouting that David Lund is going to do later in this agenda. That's the most important thing. As we go virtual this summer, we need everybody to also connect with the outdoors and make sure that we get outside of our houses and away from our computers and try to deal with the fun and adventure that comes with being outside. I want to say thanks to Jason and Doug for hosting this one and for inviting me to come on. I want to say thanks to all the leaders out there that are working hard to make sure that all of our scouts have great program. We know that scouts that go in the outdoors stay in the program. So stay focused, stay energized, stay innovative, stay safe, and get outdoors. And if we can do anything to help you, we're there. Thanks for the invitation.
Well, thank you, Al. We appreciate you so much taking time out of your busy schedule to give some kind remarks to our scouts and our scouters and all the parents that are out there checking out the webinar tonight. You know, many units are wondering about their own unit meetings and outdoor activities that they're looking to plan. And with more information on those guidelines is our Indian Waters Council Commissioner, Chris Burnett. Chris?
Thank you, Jason. Good evening, Indian Waters Council volunteers and parents. Thank you so much, James and Al, for sharing those great words of wisdom. I particularly took great comfort from James Burns's statement of, we need you to be leaders. And that's what scouts do. We're leaders in this time of opportunity, and that's the way we need to look at it. But we have an opportunity to serve our scouts this summer, but we need to do it in a safe manner. And I'd like to share with you some recommendations that are based on DHEC, CDC, and BSA guidelines for daytime evening meetings and activities. Until further notice, no overnight camping is recommended in South Carolina. So these guidelines are for daytime, evening meetings and activities. Before your group gathering, make sure that you consult your chartered organization, the organization that sponsors your unit, to ensure that group gatherings meet their guidelines. Those of you that are at higher risk for infection should consult a physician prior to participation. All participants should review their current health. Only those feeling well should participate, and anyone exposed to the coronavirus must quarantine for 14 days prior to participation. Whenever possible, please conduct temperature checks before your gathering. Have a detailed roster of all participants so that you can be prepared for contact tracing if it is later required. Let's talk briefly about transportation, getting to and from the group gathering and while you're there. During this crisis, no carpooling is allowed. Transportation to and from activities should be conducted only among family members. Limit your group size to 10 people total. So with youth protection requirements of at least 2 adults, this means no more than 8 youth. Groups of that same size can meet at the same general location, but must not come into contact with other groups or use the same facilities. Participants should always maintain social distancing of 6 or more feet, except within family members or with family members. Participants must wear masks and gloves if sharing supplies such as tools for service projects. Use hand sanitizers and wash hands when possible, and sanitize shared supplies between use. Links to these guidelines and further resources can be found on the Council iHub, both national and local links, including the Indian Waters Council BSA. South Carolina DHEC has a coronavirus page. You can get updates on the IWC iHub, as well as national resources for safely gathering and online scouting at the National BSA coronavirus page and the Center for Disease Control coronavirus page. With that, please have safe scouting this summer, and I'd like to introduce Ed Helms, our Council Advancement Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. We are in process of putting together some merit badges for our over the summer, hopefully in June and July. We have started recruiting counselors for folks that were signed up to help teach for MBU. And so these are high quality counselors that kind of know their stuff, and we're excited to have them. We've had good response, and really the biggest challenge we have right now is kind of coordinating and scheduling everybody to find a time when they can teach and that the scouts want to attend. What we're trying to do with these merit badges is hold the cost to a minimum. We're not going to try to really run up the cost like we've seen other councils do. So right now we're charging $5, and that's more just a placeholder fee. And that's also to make sure that Black Pug costs, where we have online registration fee and that type of thing, is covered. We are doing all these registrations through Black Pug, so you can go up, you can sign up, we'll make sure we have enough room, and then that'll give the instructors a list of emails to contact the participants. We're on track to offer at least 1 Eagle required and 1 elective merit badge each week. We're going to do more than that, it looks like, but that's kind of the goal, is to offer 1 of each week. Our class size, the length of each session, and the schedule will depend on the merit badge and the availability of the counselor. So right now we're looking at doing some on the weekends, some at night, some during the day. The summer, people have time off, so they can help out there. And depending on the badge, some badges may only take a 2 or 3 hour session and then work later on. And then some of them will take a longer session. Some of them will have multiple sessions. It just depends. And we're letting the counselors decide that and kind of put that together. As I said, the class size will range from 30 to less than 10 participants. And I know that's not a lot of people aren't going to like that, because once we're signed up, we've got the number of people then we're not going to be able to accept anymore. But that's just because we want to make sure that these counselors instructing through Zoom are comfortable enough to be able to handle Zoom. It's a whole different world than doing it in person. So we're certainly going to, listen to them and kind of try to accommodate them. We are going to offer some of these multiple times. So if you can't get in the first time, we'll maybe try it again in July and see if we get in there. Right now, we have 2 badges that are definitely on the books. That's Sit in the Nation, which starts Monday. There's one session for that taught by Mason Thomas. It's going to be a really good session. He's done this more than once. And he will have a session, about a 3 or 4 hour session on Monday, and then he will give assignments out, and he will have an opportunity to meet him at the State House, to tour the State House using social distancing that week. Then we have Sit in the Community, which is June 13th. That's a definite. Darren, I think Darren is a panelist or on the viewer tonight, and he will be teaching that. And again, both of these are ready to sign up for. Right now, though, we also have communications, sustainability, personal management, and emergency prep that are all kind of in the works. And again, we're trying to schedule these out, make sure we do them 1st through the 4th week and balance. So somebody wants to take Sit in the Nation this week, they're able to take Sit in the Community next week. So that's where we are right now. And I really appreciate all the help and the support that we've been given trying to get these merit badges out there. And so we will look forward to scheduling these merit badges and presenting them, and hopefully we'll have a good time and everybody will be able to learn some merit badges over the summer. So right now I'm going to turn it over to one thing that I'm most excited about, and that's our Zoom to First Class. So Jason Millen, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Well, Ed, I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the work that you and your advancement committee's done on this new program. For so many scouts in our council and across the country, they just crossed over from Cub Scouting into their new Scouts BSA troop. And I know that many of them were looking forward to a great summer camp experience that would have provided them with training and all of those new Scout skills that they needed to learn to advance up the ranks and eventually earn the rank of First Class. And with those Scouts in mind, and all of the rest of the Scouts in our council that are currently working on achieving the rank of First Class, we've created what we're calling our Zoom to First Class online program. Now, this program is designed to give Scouts the opportunity to work with older and more experienced Scouts and complete these requirements. As you can tell from the name, these sessions will be held on Zoom, and when a Scout enters the Zoom session, they will be sent to a breakout room with the rest of their patrol. There will be no more than 8 Scouts in each breakout room, and those Scouts will receive instruction from one of our older and more experienced Scouts. They will also have the opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge and complete the requirements in that session. We've worked with the updated advancement requirements that have been provided from National due to the coronavirus outbreak to put together a list of nearly 80 requirements that Scouts will have an opportunity to work on. These classes will begin at 6 p.m. and they'll run Monday through Thursday. And there are 20 sessions included in the Zoom to First Class. Scouts will have the opportunity to work on citizenship and first aid and nature and knots and lashings, and so much more. The first week of classes will begin on June 8th and will run through Thursday, and then they'll run for 5 straight weeks, with our final class ending on Thursday, July the 8th. We are excited about being able to provide this program and the opportunity that it's going to provide to Scouts. And guess what? Registration is live right now, and we're only allowing Scouts from Indian Waters Council to register for our Zoom to First Class experience as of right now. But registration will open later for Scouts and other councils if there are still spots available. But we do expect this to fill up pretty quickly. So when you go to register, you'll sign your Scout up for a week worth of sessions. The cost for this program is only $15 a week. You can view what sessions are available and what requirements we will be working on then. And we'll contact the parents of these Scouts the week prior via email to make sure that they know what requirements their Scouts will be working on. And we'll also let them know if there are any materials that their Scout may need to bring with them, such as their Scout handbook or a rope for tying knots. And while this is a change of our typical format for providing instruction, what hasn't changed is that Scouts BSA is a Scout-led program. And these young Scouts will have the opportunity to learn from some of the best Scouts that our council has to offer. We don't want any of our Scouts falling behind in their advancement and their experiences because of our current situation. We think our Zoom to First Class program will provide many of them with the advancement opportunities that they're looking for, along with the experience of learning and working alongside different scouts from all over the council. So we've heard about some of the programming that's available to our scouts that are looking to earn merit badges and advance in rank, but what about all of our Cub Scouts out there that were looking forward to some summertime activities? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that our Cub Scout activities volunteers have been hard at work putting together a great summer program. And with more information about those Cub Scout activities is a person leading that charge, Lori Stokes. Lori? Lori, you're still muted.
Hey guys, thank you, Jason, and welcome aboard everybody to our online webinar. And I've got a set of slides here, and Jason, if you want to go ahead and move through them. There are lots of activities that are coming up, and some of you that have visited the iHub, you've seen the National Day of activities that are broken out by rank where available and things like that. But what I've got up here on the next set of slides is a set of activities and a monthly challenge for each of the different ranks. So if you look at this first slide here, there's Lions, and there's one required adventure, and then there's 4 or 5 elective adventures that they can complete at home with their families to help them stay on target. And then at the very bottom is the link to a challenge calendar with 30 different activities that they can do as well. So if you flip to the next slide, you'll see the same thing for Tigers. And again, there's a variety of required and elective adventures. And then the challenge calendar that again has 30 different activities that can be used across each of the ranks. Now, if you go to the very last one, which is the one about day camp, virtual day camp, which I'm really excited about. We actually had a solid plan in place to do an amazing in-person day camp for everybody. And of course, Corona changed our plans. So now we are doing a virtual camp with Down on the Farm. And Jason, can you go ahead and play the commercial link for me?
Yeah, I think I can get that here. Let's see.
So while Jason is working on that, the Down on the Farm camp will consist of 4 days of activities, Monday, June 22nd, 23rd, 24th, with a virtual campfire on the 25th. It includes your craft materials, your STEM work, your advancement work. It includes scout skills and, oh gosh, lots of things to keep you busy. But I think here comes the commercial.
The life for me, land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
New York is where I'd rather stay. I get allergic smelling hay. I just adore a penthouse view. Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
Green Acres, we are there.
Sign
All
up
right.
today at scoutingevent.com/553-virtual day camp. Space is limited. Registration closes June 5th, 2020. You don't want to miss this virtual event.
All right. So like he said on the voiceover, registration does close on June 5th for this activity, and currently we have 52 people registered to participate in camp, and 9 of them are actually from out of council. I know that some of them are coming from the National Capital Area Council, some of them are coming from Texas, and a few from other parts around the country, as well as the ones that are local to our own Indian Waters Council. The cost is $25, and the camp registration link is also on this slide at the very bottom. And Jason, if you'd flip to the last slide in this part. All right, what you have here is an adventure, a home adventure bingo. All right, so there are a variety of activities that should go across all ranks. And when you complete a minimum of 5 of the activities on this bingo card, and you scan it in and email it or mail it back to council, I will draw one completed bingo card, and I will award a prize to the one card that I draw at Haunted Forest in October. So I can't wait to see everybody back at Barstow in October. All right, thank you so very much. And I am going to send it over to Jennifer Hodge, who is our council training chair. Jennifer, it's all on you now.
Hey guys, I'm actually still at work, so I'm not on video, but I want to give everybody an update where we're at with training. We've been working hard. I hope everyone will learn a little more about the hub tonight. We've already put a very comprehensive list. A lot of training is already available online. Generic training you can go to. You can go to the hub. It'll take you right to the links to access the training. In the next 1 to 2 weeks, we're going to be releasing an updated list of things we're making local to our council. Our volunteers are going to be offering things like Den Chief training, Weeblos to Scout transition training, Life to Eagle. A lot of people don't know about the iHub, so we're going to have an informational session about getting the most out of the iHub, as well as how to use Scout Book. We've had a lot of people request training on those top items, so we're going to try to get those out in the next 1 to 2 weeks. Probably Tuesday and Thursday evenings they'll be offered, so you can check your email. We're going to do a massive list on the iHub, as well as probably some Facebook blast as well, but we're trying to put all the information centralized on the iHub, so if everybody can kind of move the traffic to the iHub, that'll be a really great source to stay on top of the training. One thing, obviously, overnight training is not available right now. We did get permission to condense the Baloo training to the former method of the 1 day without the overnight. That is a high demand training because you guys need it to camp. Everyone in your pack, one person has to be at least Baloo trained. So we're aware of that challenge, and we are working on putting something together. Unfortunately, we still have that 10-person limit right now that can gather, and our staff is almost 10 people. So we're trying to get to the next phase, 20 people, where we can train 12 people and have 8 staff. So we're going to try to get that done this summer for sure, sooner than later, as soon as our local, as Doug and everyone has said, we're kind of abiding by our local and state guidelines. And right now they're saying 10 people can gather, which makes it difficult with a big training team because so much is involved with the Baloo. But we are working hard to get that done for you guys because we know you've been waiting for months for that training. It's only offered twice a year. So we're going to offer it this summer as soon as we can, and then again in the fall, just to make sure we maximize anyone who needs the Baloo training to get the training. But in the interim, we are going to be having these 1 to 2 trainings per week. For you guys can dial in. We'll do an informational training session. Then we'll have some Q&A at the end of all of those where we can answer your specific questions. One thing we're closely watching is making sure everyone is getting all this training done they can get done. Some of you guys are at home or just have a little extra time on your hands. And so now is really the great opportunity to knock out a lot of training, whether it be the online generic training that National has put out on the hub we've already posted, or some of this more specific localized training that our council leaders are putting together as we speak to be releasing in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So we look forward to seeing a lot of you guys on that training. My email is listed on here. If there's a specific training that your unit would like to see offered or that your leaders specifically are requesting, definitely shoot me an email, and we will get everything going for you guys.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jen. We appreciate all your hard work and all the folks there on the training committee and everything that they're doing to make sure that our leaders are trained, and we've got training opportunities for scouts both this summer and in the future. Next up, everybody's wondering about how we're going to put the outing back into scouting, and we're going to go ahead and have Dave Lund discuss with us. He's our camp committee chair, and he's going to break down how we make that happen. David?
Thank you, Jason. Let me start with some of the tough news, and then we'll get to the good news. So, as you heard, Indian Waters Council made the decision not to operate Camp Barstow this summer. It was a difficult decision as our campers and staff were ready and excited to have a great camp this summer. We had over 800 campers and leaders registered for this summer, the highest amount in many years. But in the end, the decision came down to our ability to protect the safety of campers, leaders, staff, and their families after camp. And we're making plans for Summer Camp 2021, and we look forward to having a great program for you then. We are wanting to put the outing back in scouting, and we're continuing to review how and when we can do that. Over the last several weeks, there have been many hours of meetings looking at different options on how to do that. And I have to share first some bad news in that following the guidance of the CDC, the state of South Carolina, and the Boy Scouts of America, we've decided there will not be council-led outdoor activities prior to August 1st. And in addition, Camp Barstow will be closed for maintenance work until August 1st. And so there will be no council or unit programs at Camp Barstow until that date. But I've got some good news too. First, we're going to be announcing a process for small unit-based service teams to request time to complete service work at camp. This will provide an opportunity for small groups by unit to come out to camp. And we have a great deal of maintenance work to complete, and this summer provides a great opportunity for socially distanced small teams to help with that work. And we'll share more information on that soon. Now for some more good news. Scouts can go outdoors. As Chris shared, Scouts can have outdoor gatherings and outings. There are guidelines on how that can be done by unit. And on Monday, June 1st, we're going to be rolling out expanded guidelines to allow Scouts, BSA, and venturing small group unit outings and provide guidelines for camping with approval of your charter organization. But it's worth noting that units must also follow whatever the current state and local guidelines for camping are at a given time. These new guidelines will align with the guidelines for group gatherings already posted on the council website and iHub, but there will be additional guidelines for overnight unit campouts. And that information will be available on Monday. We do recommend multiple backyard camping overnights as one way to get our Cub Scouts outside and camping this summer. We know that Scouts have done that activity already with the National BSA Camp In and some of the council backyard camping activities. And we encourage, whenever possible, get your Cub Scouts outdoors and have fun in the backyard. Now for some Scouts, as Al Lambert mentioned, the high adventure bases will provide outdoor adventure options this summer. And we're pleased to have some of our units and Scouts participating in those activities. We are also working on a program that will complement and allow our Zoom to First Class participants to finish the needed outdoor rank requirements when we can conduct this program outdoors in the future. And more information will be shared on that when we can have dates for that program. We do look forward to being able to camp together again as a council in the future. We hope that all of our Scouts can have camping opportunities in the coming months. And be sure to go to our website at indianwaters.org and look for information on how to sign up on the iHub to receive camp updates. We thank all of you for keeping our Scouts and other leaders plugged into scouting at this important time. And now I'm pleased to turn things over to our Scout Executive, Doug Stone.
Thank you, David, and I'd also like to thank all of our panelists this evening. In the next few minutes, I'll just share some other items that may be of interest to folks, and also some some words of encouragement and expression of appreciation. Really want to thank the panelists first and let y'all know that there are committee members that each of them lead, several of them, several committees. The work that is being put into the summer programmings are really to complement what takes place at the unit level, at the pack and the troop level. Really, that's our job at the council level, and the districts as an extension of the council is to support and to complement y'all's programming. We want to reiterate that some of those guidelines that have been reviewed tonight are available by going to the Indian Waters Council website. And those are being updated really daily. Some of the things that David just mentioned were put together on a subcommittee just yesterday afternoon related to some further guidelines as your units look to go, first of all, go into a meeting if they want to start meeting in person, to go on day activities, and what are the guidelines as it relates to overnight activities. What David just reviewed will be updated, and all these things are being updated. The Indian Waters Council website at indianwaters.org. Similarly, if you'd like to keep updated on these things, even if you just want to hear about Cub Scout activities, for example, or just about Scouts BSA activities, you can personalize what you receive in terms of information and the status of, if you want to get it once a week, you can do that kind of thing, how often you want to receive it. That's all on the screen right now is this Indian Waters Hub. That is linked from our website at indianwaters.org. And an important point here is that hub is something that you should really sign up for. Yeah, you can find a link and go to it and look at information, but if you'd like to get updated on these things, again, in terms of the content and amount of updates you want, you can get that right there. You sign up for it, you register, and this is what it looks like. If you go to our website and click on iHub, that's what it looks like. It's a welcome page where you go ahead and sign up. Information Central, and there's lots of different things. And so that is a new communication platform that we have. We really want to encourage y'all to use it, as well as parents, other parents in your programs that you affiliate with in scouting, and other leaders, certainly, to go to that iHub for that kind of information from the website. And of course, this stuff is on our website as well. These there are a couple questions that I saw on the chat that we want to address here before we wrap up here in the next few minutes. And in doing so, we also wanted y'all to know, we'll keep this up here for the next few minutes, of who are the contacts that we heard from tonight. How can I get a hold of them? How can I, if I have a question that I perhaps didn't think about, here's the emails of everyone that were the presenters tonight. It was great to hear some welcoming remarks from the #2 person in the Boy Scouts of America, basically Al Lambert, as well as the guy that the governor has tapped to lead us out of this economic, of this time with economic recovery, and that is James Burns. It was great to have them. It was great to have all of y'all as a part of this tonight. And we do want you to know that here are some contacts for you to follow up on with further questions, as well as the website, as well as the iHub. And I also just want to mention, even though we don't have it up here as a topic, I'm here at the Scout Service Center, which is back to regular hours. We have, while we still have much of our staff working remotely, and keep in mind, we have 3 office staff members. We have Grace, we have Amanda, and Heather. That's our office staff when we talk about, well, the folks at the office supporting our 5,000 plus scouts and leaders. And then we have 4 field staff members who are, each of them is kind of taking turns manning the up front here, and we have a window here at the Scout Service Center, open regular hours. Our Scout Shop is also open. It's not quite regular hours though that the Scout Shop is open. It's not open on Mondays, but the rest of the time it's regular hours, Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 6, and then Saturdays 10 to 2. The contact information for all of those people I mentioned on the staff is also can be found on our website. We really are on a mission here at this time to help keep scouting going. We've obviously never seen anything like this in a society in a long time, certainly in the last several years. And so scouting is, this presents an added challenge, we know, for all of our units and this kind of thing. And one thing that I think is real important for us that we believe in is communication. And so these communication tools we've mentioned are important. We have on our website some other things, such as I started a video series. I knew that people really didn't want to hear from me, so I started an bunch of interviews with some people, ranging from the head of our state parks, who's an Eagle Scout, Paul McCormick, talking about how scouts can get plugged in to go out to our state parks, and what do they have? They don't have group camping in all of the sites right now, but they do in some. So how can you do that? And then what about the idea of going out? Which state parks do you recommend us going to? He answers some of those questions. We've had interviews on this Stone Soup with the superintendent of Richland 1 School District, who's on our board, the Eagle Scout superintendent of Lexington 1 School District, Greg Little, Al Lambert, whom we just heard from tonight, as well as the other assistant chief scout executive, Patrick Starrett. We did an interview with them. All of these interviews and many more. The new Secretary of Veteran Affairs for the state of South Carolina, who's a distinguished Eagle Scout, presented on Friday some neat ideas for scouts to participate over Memorial Day weekend and beyond, to honor our veterans and stay in and help keep them in touch during this time of isolation. We did have a couple questions also finally that I just wanted to go back to. Jason Millman, I'm going to ask if you could pop back on. And the question was, if you could just touch on a little bit more related to those who are running this Zoom to First Class program and how that works.
So when the scouts sign into the Zoom, they're gonna be in a main room. So if you're a part of the virtual fellowship that the OA Lodge put on a few weekends ago, it's going to be kind of similar to that, where everyone will come into the central room, and then they'll have breakout rooms from there. So they'll be broken out into a room where they will have, there'll be 7 other scouts working on those advancements, and there'll also be at least 1, but maybe 2 other older and more experienced scouts that are there to work with them on those rank requirements. There won't be any adults in the breakout rooms because we have to have at least 2 deep leadership in order to make that happen, which means we would have to have a ton of adult leaders involved in this. But like we said, scouting is a boy-led program, so it's going to look a lot like your troop meetings do, where everybody will come together at the beginning, they'll break out into their patrols, and they'll have that troop guide that's working with them on those different requirements and achievements that they're trying to work on. And then whenever it's all said and done, they'll all go back out and come back to the meeting tomorrow.
Jason, that's a terrific point. We've got right now identified over 30 of the older scouts. I believe that somewhere around that number who will be leading this, just as they would at a troop meeting. And so any questions about that particular program, you see Jason's contact information, his email.
And Doug, if we have any other, like I said, we've got about 30 scouts, and Dan Wagner with the Order of the Arrow has said that that scouts from the lodge will get involved. Of course, David Lund and our Camp Barstow summer camp staff, a lot of them are going to be involved in teaching some of these sessions. And then we've just got our usual suspects of scouts that we see at a lot of these activities. But if you have a scout that loves to teach, loves to train, then reach out to me, and we'd love to have them become a part of this as well. So.
We had a question, what level of scouts should participate in the Zoom to First Class? I'm assuming
Yeah, it's going to be any of this. Whenever you go to the registration page, there's a PDF there that has all the different requirements that we'll be working on that week. And so any of the scouts that have not yet reached the rank of first class will be able to go through and find out roughly where or what weeks they'll want to sign up for. Then if there are any scouts that are already first class rank, and there are these types of scouts that, they've learned all of this, going and moving through the ranks to first class, that's where we learn all of these skills. But where we really start to master them is when we begin to teach them to other people. And so this will give all of our scouts that are first class or higher, that love to teach and love to train, the opportunity to do that.
And there was an advancement question online here related to, do Cub Scouts have until the end of July to finish the current year's rank? And that question, I think, is more up to the local unit, but I'm not quite the Cub Scout authority, and I guess perhaps I should be. But Jason, do you have any thoughts, or Lori Stokes, any of our other?
It's coming on here now.
Ed, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I can speak to that. Yeah, according to the latest COVID-19 guidelines from National, we have until July 31st for the Scouts to finish their current rank. If they finish before that, they're certainly welcome to start on the next rank. And also as a reminder, Arrow of Light and Webelos, which is not normally the case, parents can sign off to help Scouts complete that. I think that's usually done by the den leader, but they're making an exception for that to go ahead and get these guys to advance. So if you got any other questions, please feel free to email me. Email's on the page. So
Terrific. Again, we recognize that, for example, this time of year in May and going into June, a lot of our Cub Scout packs traditionally have closed down for the year, and then they might have some activities, hopefully would have typically some activities in the summer. We encourage you strongly to continue that, even though typically you might have closed down for this until the summer, or until you might have an activity. Sincerely, you can still meet online. If you're going to look to meet live in person, the first thing you do is check with your sponsoring chartered organization to see if they are allowing that. They own and operate the programs that we grant a charter to them for. And then also check our Indian Waters website for those guidelines that were reviewed earlier this evening as to kind of the steps to take both before the meeting or activity and during it. Similarly, I also want to recognize that this time of year for our Scouts BSA, this is when the troops are really gearing up typically to go to summer camp. And particularly those new Scouts, we want to let everyone know that there are opportunities for our Scouts to participate both online and at home, and within the guidelines we've talked about, to go out on day activities and still perhaps go to the high adventure bases if you're signed up. Those are still, as we stand right now, still in place, all of the high adventure nationally. But we want to thank everybody for being a part of this tonight. Thank you for helping to keep our Scouts plugged in. Thank you for helping our parents stay plugged in. It's crucial. This time is both the time of year and the time of life for our organization, for your organization locally. It's really crucial, and we encourage you to keep the Scout spirit going and keep our Scouts plugged in. Thanks very much to everyone for being a part of this tonight. Thank you.